Okay, my strategy was the open mind portrait, and just a kind of a brief description. It's literally a portrait of a character from whatever book you're reading, or story, or poem, kind of whatever you're doing. It can be used from grades 3 to 8. And yeah, I'll show you mine first, and then I'll kind of go over. So you'll start out with a portrait. I chose Mercy. I don't want to look at this very long because it's not right. This will be your first step. You will have full sheets of paper, and students will draw the portrait of their character of choice. And then they only need to draw the head and the neck of the character. So once you have that done, and typically these would be connected by a bracket or a staple, something up there. Then you will cut them out, and you'll cut out just what you've drawn, the head and the neck and whatever else. And then after they cut this out, they'll fasten it at the top, whatever, get their pages together, and I think you can set a limit for your class depending on how many pages you want them to have. These are called thinking pages. I only did 4, but I'm just doing a quick presentation. I'm not doing like an actual, like I would be if I was a student. So then next they will design their thinking pages. That's what these ones are called, the blank ones behind the portrait. And I just designed the one, and I chose kind of the biggest part that stuck out to me in the story. I don't know if you can see. And typically they would draw pictures or little representations of what they're writing about. Me, I knew when I read these small phrases, then I'd be able to explain them more. But for elementary, they could draw small pictures or something that helps them explain kind of what they're trying to portray in their picture. So here I put a sad face, and I put Mercy is upset, she's feeling sad, she feels kind of betrayed, and she's confused as to why Lolo did not tell her about Alzheimer's. As we know from reading the story, he was starting to forget things, falling off his bike, getting frustrated easily, and she could tell that something was up, but she didn't know what it was. And when she finally found out it was Alzheimer's, she was kind of feeling betrayed, sad, maybe a little frustrated, angry, that she thought that they had a strong bond of trust, and that's kind of something that they prided themselves on as a family, and she felt betrayed because she was not aware. So typically you would do, it doesn't say a certain number of how many pages, it's kind of as many as they need to explain whether you're doing like one chapter or the whole book, kind of whatever. I just chose the biggest part, and they're all the same shape, so that might be something that's the hardest for students to grasp, is that they'll stack all of their papers on top of each other and cut around the shape of their front page. When to use this, they create these open mind portraits when they're trying to think, when we want them, I guess, to think more deeply about a character. And you can choose that character for them or have them choose a character from the story, kind of up in the air there. And they can share these in literature circles or as a whole class group, small groups, kind of however that plans out, however that works out in your classroom. Let's see, you would use this instructional strategy, as I said, probably after a story, after you've read a story or a chapter. Kind of depends how long your story is. And then, yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty easy. They can kind of be creative with their drawings, but try to get it close. I know mine was pretty bad, but at least they know what they're going to explain. and they know what they drew, why they drew it, and their purpose. Also in an actual classroom setting, they would color it and color their thinking pages when they draw on them as well. And then the last step is just to share their completed open mind portraits. They'll share them with their classmates and they'll kind of explain the words they put. Like I had the small phrases, but I talked a little bit more about what I meant. And they would explain the pictures that they wrote also or drew.